Hey guys, Stuart Schreier here from SEO Cheat Guide. So in today's video, I want to talk to you about how to frame up your delivery system so you're not stuck doing the technical work in your business. So as we talked about in yesterday's video, I'll link to below. It's really the framework for understanding why you're not able to scale your digital marketing business. It kind of explains what we're talking about here today. So if you haven't watched it, definitely click the link in the description below. Go watch that video and then come back to this. It will make a lot more sense. Okay, so what we're talking about is systematizing your delivery. And how we do this is we want to chunk it down into 3 steps, right? We want to take whatever the service that your company is kind of offering or the solution that it's offering to your prospects. We want to take that, we want to chunk it down into 3 kind of big formats. I guess if you want to call them formats or you want to call them microbytes or chunks, however you want to describe it, chunk number 1 or step number 1 is going to be to detail the process, right? And that's the overarching big thing. Then step number 2 is breaking the process down into tasks. And step number 3 is breaking those tasks down into process maps or SEO cheat guides. Once we do that, we're in a situation where we really have a strong understanding of all of the processes your company delivers, and then under each process, all of the tasks that need to happen, and then under each task, all of the steps that are made up to make that task work. Okay, so let's walk through like an example that you should be able to relate to. So let's use local SEO as an example. So local SEO breaks down into a number of processes. You'd have an onboarding process, you'd have a setup process, you'd have an audit process, you'd have an on page, you'd have an off page, you'd have a content creation, you'd have a social media probably process, and you'd have a reporting process. Right? So those would be the big overarching processes. Under each process, we break those down into tasks. So let's break down reporting and see what tasks would follow under reporting. So one thing you'd want to do is pull the number of phone calls you generated on the website. Number 2, you might want to pull the number of emails that came in from, like, say, the contact us or quote us kind of category. Number 3, you might want to see how many people join the mailing list. Number 4, you'd want to look at analytics. Number 5, you may look at keywords. And number 6, you'd want to pull together that email for the client summarizing all of that reporting. So those would be all of the tasks. So then you'd want to go one step further and pull together a process map or an SEO cheat guide for each of those tasks. So how do you pull the emails? Step 1, what do you do? Step 2, what do you do? Step 3, what do you do? And you'd visually lay it out so that it's very clear how you want it done. And yes, before you say, I know this sounds like a lot of work, you do it once. Right now, you're doing it every month. You'll do it once. It takes an hour, maybe it takes a half an hour for you to detail that process so that you have an actual task. But now what ends up happening is you're able to delegate that task. Somebody else is going to be able to do that work for you going forward, right? Because you're going to give them this piece of paper, this process map, this SEO cheat guide, if you will, and you're going to say, here, go and do this. When you hire somebody, you don't have to pay them very much. If they can read and follow directions, which most people that finish school have learned how to read and follow directions, you can give it to them. So if you go to somewhere like the Philippines, you probably can hire somebody at $2 or $3 an hour, and they're going to be able to fulfill that task. You don't have to train them on the task, you just have to send them that SEO cheat guide. So they take that guide and they follow the steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, and it's done. Your quality control is easy because they either follow that guide or they don't. They either have a job or they don't. It's really, really that simple. So what you're doing now is you're creating a system that other people can do the work the way you want it done without having to spend a ton of time kind of working with them, trying to get them to figure out from your head what you want them to do. You've documented it, you've showed them how to break it down, you assign that task, they go and they do that task. When they're done that task number 1, you give them task number 2 in the process. They go and they do that. Then task number 3, then task number 4, then task number 5, then task number 6 is pull together that email. Maybe you review it before it goes out, but nonetheless, everything else has happened for you. They've cut down your work by 80%. Probably closer to 100 because now you're just skimming and hitting send. Now, that's one process. If you do that for every process in your business and you basically break down your entire business, what happens in month 1, what happens in month 2, what happens in month 3, what happens in month 4, 5, 6, all the way through, you now have a recipe that you can follow to deliver on that solution you promised your ideal buyer. You can plug people in doing the work at each step, and now ultimately what ends up happening is you free up your time. You can now allocate that time to focusing on your attraction system, which is what is going to bring your ideal prospects into your world, and your conversion system, which is what's going to take them from cold traffic, warm them up on that escalator, get them to the point where they're an 8 or a 9 or a 10 and they're ready to buy your service. Now you have a scalable business because you have something attracting your ideal prospects, something converting those prospects into clients, and you have a system that's scalable to deliver that process that doesn't require you to do all of the work every time you get a new customer. Your job as the entrepreneur is to orchestrate this beautiful thing, this business that works day in and day out for you so that you always end up making money. Anyways, I hope you got something from this. If you did, definitely give me a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, hit subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments or questions. I'd love to engage with you here on the channel. I'm trying to grow the channel, so your engagement, if you really can, if you got something from this, definitely give me that thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video.